Good evening. Welcome to the Commission on Disabilities April 10th meeting. If we could all please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I just do like a roll call of the members. Rick Frenny.
Here.
Robert Bent.
Here.
Michelle DeBellis.
Here.
Enza Goodwin.
Here.
David Haskey. Paul Mazzoni, absent. And Ralph DeChico, present. The first item that I have on the agenda tonight is I'd like to welcome a new member to the Commissions of Disabilities as co-chair. A lot of people are going to recognize him from that he runs the Little Ricky Foundation. I'm honored to have him on as the co-chair. It's Rick Frenny, and I'm going to announce him as the All-American. Is that what they said at the council meeting? They said for you. So I'd like to welcome you, and if you would like to say a few words, well, I appreciate it.
I don't want to correct you on the first meeting, but it was Great American. They said that was Tony Zambuto. No, it's a pleasure to be here, to work with people who are involved, with disabilities are here at home, and we just try to take it to another level by being involved across the city. And I've been involved with special education for a very long time on the city and on the state level. So I'm hoping to bring my experience here and help out and learn some things, because I don't claim to know everything, Mr. DeChico. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here, and it's an honor to be sitting beside you. Thank you.
Thank you. The second item that we have on the agenda, most of the items on this month's agenda are a carryover from the March meeting that we had to cancel due to the unforeseen circumstances with the weather that we had last month. So this one was a carryover, and one of our commission members, Enza Goodwin, she saw it on TV, was a sheriff's department that had created a special sticker decal to place on homes where residents with special needs who may not be able to respond to verbal commands. So what I had done at that time is I had gone online to find it, and it looked very interesting. So I was thinking about this idea and wanted to see if we could tweak it a little bit and create a sticker decal to place on homes that have residents that have any form of a person with a disability. It would be similar to the decals that they used to use, or still may be in place on windows that have children in them in case of an emergency. What I had stated at the time, I was also going to mention this at my next meeting of the Metro Boston Homeland Security, which is the MBHSR group, because this could assist with the CTN residents that we are in the process of trying to have a plan in case of an evacuation, so that we would have this on the doors. And unfortunately, we don't have the funds in our budget to do something like this. I know there was some talk about possibly charging for it, but I don't think it would be something that we would want to charge for. So I've had some preliminary discussions with Chief Bright from the fire department, and he's willing to look into seeing if we have any funds available through there to possibly do something with this to implement it. And my thoughts on this is that we'll bring this on to a monthly meeting, departmental meeting that I have with the mayor also. What I'm looking to possibly do, if we can implement this, is it'd be a twofold, as I said in our notes, is not only will we be implementing these stickers to residents who have family members or themselves have disabilities, but we could also create a database for first responders, so that they know where they would be at, so that if a 911 call does come in, we know what types of disabilities people at that residence do have, and we could keep that updated. And what we would have to do is Also, when they come to pick up the sticker, they would have to fill out a form so we know who they are, where they live, so we know where those stickers are. And also in the event that they move or relocate, that we would have to be notified so that we could get that sticker removed and have them taken out of the database so that we can keep accurate records. So I just wanted to get some thoughts and ideas on that from other members here, and I thank Enza for bringing that to my attention. And I wanted to, discuss on possibly adding some more to that idea. It's very good, and I believe I had sent that to everyone when she had told me. I went on and found it. So anybody wishing to speak on that?
Thank you, Ralph. So when I saw it on the news, I guess this had taken place out in Johnson County, Kansas, of all places, but it was on our local news. What I liked about it was that their decal did state special needs person who may not respond to verbal cues. And that, for me, caught my attention because I thought of my own son, and I thought, if somebody did come over, he might not appropriately respond to what is being asked. And that is kind of a big deal for us, and I'm sure for many people who have children with special needs, particularly autism. I did try to look them up online, and if you wanted to buy individual ones, they do cost upwards of $5 each. So it would definitely be a pretty big cost unless we could get them bulk made.
And my thoughts on that is we could tailor it with the city seal. That's why I'm thinking of going to Chief Bright and had preliminary conversations with him and doing something as a city process, because I think it would greatly benefit not only the residents, but it would the first responders. Anyone else?
I think it's a great idea. I mean, me personally being taken out by EMS and fire all the, on a couple of month basis, I know how it is, how hard their job is, and like Enda just said, they come in quick. So if they're giving you a command, you may not understand it if you have a certain disability or whatever. So I think it's a great idea.
Anyone else like to speak on it?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, after I saw Enza's correspondence, a friend of mine did forward a thing that she found on Facebook. It was the same thing as first responders coming to schools when you have all these, shelter in place. And it's first responders coming to schools, and particularly in special needs classes, kids with autism and things, they respond very differently to commands. A lot of times they can seem, when they seem frightened, they do things like put their hands in pockets and things like that can seem really, they don't respond well to commands and things like that. I was going to see if I could forward that to all you folks, see what you think, because I think that we may want to include that to the police and fire, so when they respond to schools, should they have to, we may want to include that as part of the educational part of this as well. So I did want to see if anyone would be interested in me sharing that with you, and then maybe we could consider incorporating that as part of this program as well.
Anyone else have any?
So I have one right now on my car, actually, and it's similar, same thing. And it just will alert first responders, if God forbid I'm in an accident with my son with special needs, that they know when he has special needs, he might not answer, he might not speak. He is verbal, but, he is not good at communicating well, certain circumstances. And the other part of that is a lot of them wander. So God forbid something happened at a house, they're running in, first responders, right? They don't understand, if they don't get a warning, those kids could just take off in certain situations because they don't know. And I know my son has no fear. So if something happened at the house and there's something out of whack or something that's going to cause sensory overload, he could bolt. So I think it's really important because they don't know they're coming in. They're taking care of whatever's going on in that moment.
Okay.
Thanks, Ralph. This is such a need for this, and it's such a common sense approach. It's surprising we haven't had this in years ago. And thank goodness for Enza seeing this on TV. I can't imagine the cost will be overwhelming if it's $5 a sticker and we get them mass produced. I think this is something we can do, either with the support of the city, the schools, or private donations. But this is something we can definitely jump on sooner than later, I think. And I think it would be, first and foremost, it's about safety. We can't do anything for these kids unless they're safe, and this is paramount. So this is a great idea, and thanks for bringing this up. And thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. What I will do is I will continue the conversations with Chief Bright to see if he can find some funds, and then we'll take it from there and trying to see on implementing some type of a program to move ahead on this and see where we can go from it, because it's going to benefit not only the families, but like I said, the first responders. Okay, the next item I have on the agenda is CODA, Commissions on Disabilities Alliance monthly conference call meetings that I had in March on the 7th and also in April on the 4th. What I also did for everyone is I passed out a sheet to explain about CODA, what it basically is. And this is a call that I have once a month with CODA that we discuss several different agenda items. And I had sent a bunch of information of some things that we have been working on. This is basically more or less for the commission members, but I just want to make sure that everybody is up to date on some of it. But I wanted to highlight two certain things on here that we're working on. One of them was we've had conversations regarding the ADA Education and Reform Act. It's House Rule 620, the myths and truths about the ADA Education Reform Act. The so-called ADA Education Reform Act of 2017, it's not what its proponents claim and will not achieve in stated goals. Instead, the bill undermines the very purpose of landmark civil rights laws, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and harms people with disabilities. I'm including a copy of the full letter from the ACL to each of your COD members during the meeting. I believe that was the other form that I had given you, so that you could take a look at it. This was a handout that was given to us. And also one of the other pieces of emails that I had given you was some of the petitions that CODA is suggesting that they are bringing in letters that they want commissions in general to try and send to their legislatures, that we're working on drafts on that. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or if anybody has any knowledge on these, but I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. And from what I've gathered from our talks and discussions, it's almost as if that they're trying to say that this Education Reform Act is going to basically benefit the disabled community for the children, but the ACLU and other organizations are spelling out that it's going to have the reverse effects. So that's something that, everybody will have their own feelings and thoughts on that, but I just wanted to make sure, just to let everybody know that that's what the thoughts and information was on that. So, does anybody have any questions or comments on that? The other pending item that CODA is in favor of is that we're discussing legislative items, strong support for the alternative housing voucher program, which was Massachusetts State Budget line item 7004-9030, and they're asking for support. Its funding to increase to $7.7 million in fiscal year 19 budget from current level of $5 million. There's some language in it saying that they are increasing it, but there is what they're increasing it and what they're actually increasing it are two different things. Because it's, I don't know if it would be, if it's correct by saying if it's taking one from one area and putting it in another. So that quota, we're working on some of that, and I believe that may be one of the letters that I have emailed to all of you that we're in the process of trying to draft up. Because at one of the meetings in the discussions that we've been having, they wanted us to try and go back as commissions and try and draw up our individual letters. And what I had made is a suggestion that what we should do as an alliance is try and come up with a blanket template for any time that the Commission on Disabilities are asked to formally come together on certain issues, that we would all have the same type of letter from our commissions. So that's what we're doing on all these issues, so that's what we're working on now. One other issue is Senate Bill number 1379 and House Bill 249 relative to the Architectural Access Board. Would align our state access regulations with the federal architectural regulations for the Americans with Disabilities Act. It is imperative to ensure access to employment, housing, and equal civil and human rights of all people with disabilities across the Commonwealth. As you probably can assume and guess, that certain areas of the state are more proactive and more law-abiding to certain laws, whereas some places are lenient and don't append the law. So that's what we're trying to do with this, is to make sure that it's across the state, that it's uniformed, and that it's followed in every city, town, and community, that everybody follows the regulations, and that it's not brought up to a certain jurisdiction to not upend the law. Because, you know, we do have the disability community that visits one city or town and another, and if disability laws are not followed, it can affect the well-being of the disabled community. So I'm not sure if anybody has any questions or any comments on that. Okay, since there is none, we'll move on to item number 4, and I'll ask Enzer if she could do that. And I'm not sure if I missed anything.
Okay.
Please just fill it in.
Thank you. Thanks, Ralph. So our drop-in stay playgroup has continued to run on Monday nights at the rec, and that takes place from 6 to 7:30. We did have to cancel a few times during the month of February and March because of the cold, snowy weather, but we hope to continue that going into May. And it's an opportunity for families to come and for children to have a chance to play together in a safe, enclosed environment. There was the Polar Plunge that took place on Saturday, March 17th. It was hosted at Revere Beach by Special Olympics, and I believe the total that was raised was $113,000, so quite a bit of money. Jen Duggan and I actually had a meeting with Special Olympics a few weeks back, along with Nick Romano from Mayor Arrigo's office. We're looking to start up a flag football league for kids with special needs, maybe sometime in May, as well as continuing our Young Athletes program in the fall. And hopefully, as everyone knows, April is Autism Awareness Month, and Revere CPAC has created an autism awareness calendar for the month of April with many free child and family events. And the calendar flyer can be found by visiting Revere CPAC, our Facebook page, and also, I guess, right on the city's website as well. And we'd like people to check it out and see what's happening in and around the community. For example, tonight, Uno's is hosting one of those dine-in or dine-out events that you can arrive with the coupon, and 20% of your meal will go back to CPAC. On Saturday, April 21st, from 11 to 1, we're hosting our first annual Walk for Autism at Harry Delarusso Stadium. Again, this is a family-friendly event, and it will feature music and a face painter, as well as an obstacle course for children. More information can be found on our website, and we're hoping people can join by coming and walking, and if they're not able to walk, if they could just come and maybe have a seat in the stands to join all of us and support us. And folks have also asked about donations as well, and we will gladly accept any donations that anyone's willing to make. I'm gonna have Rick talk more about the next item. If I could just also toss in that our next CPAC meeting's taking place on April 25th at 6 o'clock, and all are welcome to attend, and that's at the Revere League for Special Needs.
Thank you, Enza. And I will be there with my family on the Walk for Autism Saturday morning, wearing our Autism Awareness T-shirts that you guys sold. They look fantastic. Saturday, April 21st, also that evening, I will be hosting the 10th annual Little Ricky Foundation for Autism at Breakaway in Danvers, which is right next to Putnam Pantry up on Route 1. Tickets are $50, and they include dinner, comedy, dancing, raffles, and a whole bunch more. You can call or text 781-704-1300 or 781-656-5013 for tickets. You can also visit littlericky.vpweb.com or email littlerickyforautism@gmail.com. Just to point out, we've already passed the $100,000 mark. All the proceeds we make after paying off, obviously, the food and the entertainment comes right back to Revere, whether it's scholarships or supplies for the classrooms or field trips. So all the money we make stays here. It doesn't go to research or the autism speak. It stays right here in Revere. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a great night, and hopefully people out there watching or catching us on YouTube can pick up the phone and order some tickets. Thank you, Enza.
Thank you, Enza and Rick. The next item is item 5, old business. An update and discussions about the Disabled Children and Young Adults Art Pilot Program. First, I wanted to announce that we did receive the check. It was a live check that I had just received on Friday. And the check was for $1,177.62. I had brought it up to the treasurer's office, and they'll deposit it in the Commission on Disabilities Fund. I had communications looking for a spot so that we could try and run this. It was with the Revere Youth. I forget the exact name. Do you know what the name is across the street? It's in the old post office. Youth Zone. Youth in Motion or Youth Zone?
The one down there?
Right in the post office, yeah.
Oh, in the post office,
So they had preliminary discussions with possibly using the space there. It's on the second floor, and they said sometimes the elevator is kind of quirky, so I'm looking at other locations and looking for ideas so that we could possibly get this art program started. I was hoping to start it in early spring, but we're in early spring with the weather and everything, and I'll explain some other issues that have been going on, what's been putting me on the back burner, and what I'd like to do is, if it's okay with both Robert and Rick, I'd like to possibly see if Rick could work with Robert on getting this pilot program going, and we'll get you up to speed on where we're at, if that's agreeable, because Robert had brought this to the committee. I had helped him fill out the grants to get this money, and we'll bring you up to speed, because I know you've done a lot with the special education with the children, so that we can get this process. And I have some other ideas of some other locations that I'll share with you on getting this done. And we just need to find out for times to do it, because I know with some children being schools at different school times in the day, and, you know, I don't want to intrude with, I know we're going to be starting hopefully soon, spring Special Olympics for the young athletes. So it's going to have to possibly be on during the week. So I'm going to need some dates and times also for Mensa, if we know when that will be starting, so that we don't do them at the same time. Okay, so if you two would.
So we're looking for time and location for this program?
Times and locations so that we can house some of these students, and what we also, I'll show you the grant application, what our ideas are. We're looking to try and get some high school students to help out. We're doing this for the community service. I was also suggested to me to see if there's still a friendship club at the high school. Not sure if that was still there or not.
No, the Friendship Club, unfortunately, no longer there. It's been gone for about maybe, I think, 2 years now, which is a little disheartening, but a little bit of a turnover there up at the high school level for special ed. So the Friendship Club went by the wayside. Hopefully, we can bring it back. But at the same token, there are young adults up there that are like big brothers to those up there with special needs. So I think we can get some sort of Big Brother program to help us with the art pilot program. I think we'll be okay. Locations, can you indulge us in some of the locations that you looked at, or is that something you want to speak off the record?
Off the record, because I don't want anybody to, I haven't spoken to them yet, so I don't want it out there yet until we speak to them first.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else have any questions or anything, any ideas to share or whatnot on that? Okay. The next thing on old business is the update regarding the letter to the mayor's office regarding City Hall basement door entrance and also the Legion building. Before the meeting this evening, I got off the phone with Nick Romano, who's the special assistant to Mayor Arrigo, and I got a verbal commitment that we have approval to move ahead to get the electronic door openers for both the basement door at City Hall and the door at the ISD building across at the Legion in the back. So I will get that in writing to work on getting me that letter, and we'll see on how we have to go through the paperwork and the departments to get the procurement and what departments to get that done. But we do have the mayor's approval to go ahead and move to get the automatic door openers, and to make sure that the landing in front of the City Hall door is of the correct level and whatnot, because I know there's some possible divot down there or whatnot to help for the elderly and the disabled coming into the basement door down there. So that was good news. So it's not, I don't have it in writing, but I got the verbal, so they wanted to let me know before the meeting tonight. So that was great news. So if anybody had any questions on that. Yeah, Robert?
I would just personally like to thank you for your hard work on that. I'd like to thank the commission for their hard work on that and accepting that. And I also would like to thank the mayor's office for going forward with it and thanking their hard work on it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Next item I have is the update on the Metro Boston Homeland Security Region Working Group meetings that we have been meeting. We have a scheduled meeting that's going to be coming up in a few weeks. This is for the CTN Critical Needs Transportation residents in Revere in case of an evacuation that's mandated by the federal government that I've been working on with Captain Tedesco of the fire department. We have sent out preliminary surveys to different agencies that would be able to help with if an evacuation was to come into place, on agencies that could help with the transportation of these residents. So that has been sent out, and we are going to be in the process of having more meetings with the with the company that had won the award from the state. So that's another ongoing process that we are in. So we hopefully should be having a meeting. It's either the end of this month or the beginning of next month. This is supposed to be done, everything is supposed to be done with a whole new evacuation plan by mid to late June. So hopefully when that's done, I will be able to update everybody else on that when that's done. Next item I have is late items. I have a couple of late items. One of the late items that I wanted to update on is I had sent I'm not sure if anyone had seen the council meeting on 2 weeks ago. There was transfer of some funds from different departments for different capital improvements. One of them was a line item 011828-58000 for $50,000 for the Legion Building front stairs. I had sent a letter to the mayor, to Frank Stringy of the Community Development, to Nick Romano, the mayor's aide, and I believe DPW, I couldn't find the email, asking if there could be a slight change in that. Not only did I want them to possibly do the stairs, I wanted them to include a handicap permanent ramp. I got a verbal approval of that tonight from the mayor's office. So that is now going to be incorporated into the front entrance rework of the Legion Hall. So I just wanted that to be known tonight. So the mayor's office has approved that to be worked into that funding for the front entrance of Legion Hall. I know that has been a long time coming, and thank you to the mayor and his administration for looking at my recommendation and approving that. So I'll be working with them to see the next steps on getting the paperwork done and getting that done for that. So if anybody has any questions or comments on that, but I know it's a great need. That ramp that was there was only supposed to be temporary, maybe 25 years ago, just for election time. And as you can see, I think it's being held by bubble gum and Band-Aids and whatever else. So when that's done, it'll be a added benefit to everyone. So thank you, Mayor Rigo. Let's see. I have two more late items. One is going to be a little bit of little length, but it won't be too lengthy. I'm not sure if anyone knows of the situation with the Carabetta buildings down by the beach on Ocean Ave. As of, I believe it was February 14th, there's been a lot of issues with those buildings. But as of February 14th, the state elevator inspector had gone in there and shut all the elevators down for not being safe. They weren't safe and all other kinds of violations. So I had been asked to come on board as a liaison to the residents for the city of Revere to try and help all the residents that are in there, not only disabled or elderly, to try and basically be the liaison between them and management to try and facilitate getting them out of the buildings and put up into hotels at management's cost. So I've been diligently working on that night and day since roughly around February 17th. So that's one reason why I had to put on the back burner the pilot program with the arts for the disabled children. Not that it was any less of importance, but I had to take that on, that responsibility on, doing that, emails left and right, phone calls, and trying to make sure that I could get them facilitated, and it started quieting down a little bit. One of the elevators had just come back on in one of the buildings last week. The good news is that they have agreed there's going to be all new elevators put in all the buildings at this time next year. So that will be getting done. But in the meantime, still, two of the buildings still do not have elevators. So there are people that are staying in hotels. Management is paying for that, so I'm just making sure to stay on top of that, the communication emails between the residents and the management is being answered and taken care of. So I've been handling that. I'm willing to let anyone see what that looks like if they want to see, but it's been night and day with snowstorms and everything. There's been a couple of issues where before that there was 911 calls having to go there and trying to take some elderly and disabled residents off of the 12th floor or the 10th floor, having to take them down the staircases was not an easy task. But hopefully there's a resolution and an end in sight. So I just wanted to let everyone be aware of that. That's what's been going on. But the city has taken the bull by the horn, which was great, because the residents deserve somebody fighting for them a little bit. So that's that. And one late item that I wanted to bring up last month, it's still okay to do it now because it's something that I wanted to do for next year. I know that the city does have the Snow Angels program. It's very limited because it's done by the ROTC. They do an excellent job. When I say excellent, they do an excellent job. The thing that I am aware of and know of, and I'm sure that all of you know of, there are a lot of disabled and elderly residents in the city that are willing to pay to have the snow removed. So what I wanted to do is possibly reach out to, I know it can't be done with the school, but I'm looking to possibly look to speak to some of our organizations in the cities, like some of the churches, some of the CCD churches, some of the other churches, to see if they have any students there that would like to make extra money or do the community service. If we can get a list of these students that are willing to do it, get a list that we could supply with these residents, not us being involved in it, but just being able to have a list for these residents to be able to reach out to contact for a set fee to take care of the snow, but they have to be reliable students, reliable teenagers that are going to want to do this in all the storms. Because I know, a lot of the residents, they're willing to pay. There's just no one there to do it. So if we could try and get a list, and I'm sure everybody will know, their church organizations, who we could talk to there to find some of these teenagers that are willing to work during these snow emergencies. And we have a list, and if we can have this in place before the early fall of next year, so that they can even contact us, or we could put it on our website or whatnot, so that they can contact these students and hire them for the winter time to do the snow removal. So I wanted to see if anybody's thoughts and ideas on that, if that's something that we can take on as a board to try and put together for them, and any other ideas on that.
Ralph, I love the idea of it. I know during all the storms that we had this winter, my two older boys, after they helped my husband shovel, they went door to door looking to see about shoveling, anyone who needed a hand. So I know I would love to be a part of it, and you could definitely count on my two boys to be involved. It's a great idea, and there's definitely a need there.
Anyone else?
Is what we're trying to do is just put the student with the person that needs the help and let them work out the monetary situation?
Yes, exactly.
We're not going to establish.
No, we're not
say,
going to
okay, everyone's
establish.
getting $50 an hour.
No,
or
we're not
anything
going to
like
establish anything. We're
Okay.
just going to make up it's just, we're going to make like a referral list
Okay.
of students, and And what we'll do is we'll do it, we'll get the referral list, when we get the referral list with their name, number, and their address, this way, and the residents, this way, that we don't want a student that lives on Park Ave having to go to Point of Pines. We want them to be, if they're in their neighborhood, the residents are in their neighborhood, within a couple of streets, within walking distance to take care of them, is the best idea. We don't want these kids to have to be going far, and I know there will be, if we can get a big enough of a referral list, it'll be something that's doable. Okay, I know, Rick, you had something that you wanted to talk about, late items? Does anybody else have anything for late items?
Okay, I will be brief. This is not lengthy. My foundation did this a few years ago. We weren't able to help as many people as we wanted to because requests kept coming in for therapeutic supplies and field trips, and we promised to give out scholarships, so the money goes pretty quick when you're just a small organization like just my wife and I. But what I was looking into, the locating devices and other wandering prevention technology for people with autism and other developmental disabilities. And I'm sure people are aware of this, and if they're not, it's basically low jack for children at risk. It's a bracelet that goes on your wrist, and for people that tend to wander, especially those that wander in a nonverbal, it makes it even a more dangerous situation. And unfortunately, you read once in a while in the paper or you see on the news that someone goes missing, and at the end of the day, it's not a happy story. So my thoughts on this was to maybe do some more research and offer a few of the companies perhaps to visit us with a demonstration, Mr. Chairman. Invite the police to attend, since most of these tracking devices require the police to have receivers in their vehicles. So we can look at costs, but we can also look at the testimonials of these companies and their track rate, inquire if there's any grants out there in the state or federal level to fund these life-saving devices. Now, I did a little research. The bracelets cost about $100 each, and the monitoring monthly is about $30 each. But after speaking to someone at LoJack a while back, they would waive the cost of the bracelet if we had 10 or more sign up. So you're talking $360 a year per person for the monitoring. 10 people, it's almost $3,400. So that's a lot of money just for 10 people. Now, certain foundation can do 10 here and 10 there, but we have more than 20, 30 kids at risk here in the city. Once again, I'm all about safety first. We can do everything we can with the stickers and the decals in these bracelets. I think it's paramount that we get on this. I will look into this more, Mr. Chairman, and get back to you next month what I found, and then we can go on from there about inviting the police chief or some of the patrolmen, as well as some of the locating device companies. But I think it's something that should be looked into, like the decals, and I think it's something that we should be looking into sooner than later. And unfortunately, it's a little more expensive than decals, but I think there's a will, there's a way. We can get the money somehow. So that's my 2 cents on this. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 top-ranked companies in the country that provide this service. 4 of them can attend. I spoke to 7 of them. 4 of them can attend a meeting when we're able to, as long as we give them enough notice. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Rick. Anybody have any questions about that or any comments on it? I think it's a great idea because, like you said, it's not only children, it's all time, it's patients and elderly. As we saw, there was somebody recently in Everett that was an elderly patient that was missing, was found, in Revere. But basically, right now, the way that they have to find them is patrolling when somebody is missing and put out alerts, whereas if there's monitoring devices, and it makes it a lot easier. Yes, there's a cost, but if you take into account how much money is spent when somebody is missing, looking for that person, this cost, the savings outweighs the cost that you would do for looking for someone, and possibly not even the cost. It's the time is of the essence when somebody is missing. Life has no cost. You know, you can't put a dollar amount on somebody's life.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As well, home alarms are usually $30 to $40 a month for the basic package to protect your home. So for $30 a month, you can protect your child, your grandson, your niece and nephew. So I just think it's a great idea, and that's something we should definitely take up and take to heart and move this thing forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any late items? Since there are none and we don't have any residents to speak, I'm just going to move on to item 8, which is reminders that the Commission on Disabilities has office hours every Friday from 8:15 to 12:15 at the Veteran Services Office, which is in the rear of the Legion Building downstairs in the basement. You can call ahead for an appointment, or you can just show up because an appointment is not needed. And if you need to speak to someone from the Disabilities Office, we have the 311 Constituent Services has control of our phone service on the days that we do not have office hours. But if you do need to speak to someone from the Commission on Disabilities, they'll patch you right into to my voicemail, or our voicemail, and someone will get back to you, and it will be before the Friday. Usually I try and get back to someone within the hour after they leave me a voicemail if my schedule allows. If not, if it's not within the hour, it's definitely within the same day. No question or comment is too little or too small, so everyone counts. The other thing that I would like to mention, that if you have any questions or concerns that you would like to be brought up at these meetings, you can either attend this meeting or you could send us an email and we could put it on the agenda. It doesn't have to be in person. Remember that our commission is here to help and assist all the disabled residents and families in Revere. That's what we're here for. Hopefully we can get a little bit more involvement. We need to know what you need so that we can help you. As always, we do have the accessibility, disabled accessibility survey that we have created. You could either pick up a copy of it in the mayor's office, or you can download it from the disability website, or you could pick it up at our office. Even though we're only there on Fridays, there are copies there Monday through Friday that Veteran Services has on hand, so you can easily pick one up and fill it out and drop it off. This way we can see what needs are that people have, and be able to facilitate some of the needs and see what we would need to bring into the city for some services for you. That's what we're here for. We're here for the disabled community. That's what we're all here to do a job for. Young or old, there's no difference. So with that, our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, May 8th at 6 p.m. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Good night.